Celeb Clope Presents. When Tyla walked up that Grammy stage and lifted that trophy, the whole of Africa screamed. But somewhere in Lagos, three kings of Afrobeats were sitting with that look. You know the one. That quiet, calculating look that says, I see you. Today on Celeb Clope, we are getting into something that nobody is talking about loud enough. What Tyla's Grammy win actually means for WizKid, Burna Boy, and Davido, and why this moment just changed the entire game for African music forever. Let's set the scene properly. The Best African Music Performance category at the 2024 Grammys was not a joke category. This was not the industry throwing Africa a pity trophy. You had WizKid, Burna Boy, Davido, three of the most decorated, most streamed, most celebrated artists to ever come out of this continent, all sitting in that same nomination list. These are men who have sold out O2 Arena. Men whose albums have gone platinum in countries that could not even point to Nigeria on a map 5 years ago. And then Tyla, this 22-year-old South African girl with one song, Water, walked into the room and took all of them home. Every single one. Now before your blood pressure rises, let's be real with each other the way only Celeb Clope can be. Tyla deserved it. Water was not just a song. That record was a cultural earthquake. It crossed genres, crossed borders, crossed demographics in a way that even the heavyweights struggled to do in that particular cycle. The song had Afrobeats in its bones, but it spoke to a generation that consumes music on 30-second loops and still managed to hold their attention for the full 3 minutes. That is not luck. That is a weapon. But here is where it gets interesting, and this is the part that the blogs are not giving you. WizKid has never publicly addressed Tyla's win. Not a tweet. Not a story. Not even a cryptic post. And if you know Wiz, you know that silence is its own language. This is a man who put out Essence and watched it become one of the most streamed African songs in history. A man who collaborated with Beyoncé and did not act like it was a favor. WizKid's silence on this matter is not grief, it is observation. He is watching how the world reacted, processing what it means, and filing it away. Because artists like WizKid do not respond. They recalibrate. Burna Boy, on the other hand, has never been a man to stay quiet when the world gives him material. The self-proclaimed African giant has made his entire career out of turning setbacks and controversies into momentum. His Grammy win in 2021 for Twice as Tall was a turning point, not just for him, but for the entire perception of Afrobeats globally. But losing to Tyla? That is a different kind of sting. Because this was not losing to a peer. This was losing to someone who is still building her foundation. And Burna, being Burna, will use every gram of that energy to fuel whatever comes next. Watch. And then there is Davido. Our Omo Baba Olawo. The man who has built a career on resilience so thick you could build a Lagos highway with it. Davido was also nominated, also passed over, and yet Davido is not the kind of person who quietly disappears after a loss. He rebounds. He celebrates others publicly even when the cameras are not watching, and then he gets back to work. That is his pattern. That is his power. Now let's zoom out for a moment because this story is bigger than trophies. What Tyla's win did, whether anyone is comfortable saying it or not, is prove that African music is not a monolith. For years, the global conversation about African sounds has been dominated by the Nigerian narrative. Lagos has been the heartbeat, Afrobeats has been the identity, and the Yoruba-inflected sound has been the ambassador. But Tyla walked onto that Grammy stage representing Johannesburg, representing Amapiano, representing a South African sonic identity that has been bubbling for years and was finally given its international crown. This is Africa expanding its musical conversation. And that is something every fan of this culture should be celebrating, even if it stings a little. Because make no mistake, it does sting. The Nigerian music community has put in decades of work to get African music to where it is today. Fela laid the groundwork. Baba carried the torch. Then Banj opened the international door. Then Davido, WizKid, and Burna Boy kicked it wide open. For a South African artist to be the first to collect the Grammy in that category, using a genre that only recently started getting its global flowers, that is a complicated emotion. It is pride and loss sitting in the same chair. But the truth that every serious music watcher understands is this. Competition at this level raises everyone. When Tyla wins, she makes the world pay more attention to African music. And when the world pays more attention, they discover WizKid. They discover Burna Boy. They discover Davido. The ocean gets bigger for everybody. There are also things circulating online that we need to address. False claims connecting WizKid and Tyla in ways that have been thoroughly debunked. Do not fall for the noise. In entertainment, misinformation spreads faster than facts, and on Celeb Clope, we do not trade in rumors. We trade in what is real. The real story here is that African music is at a turning point. The players are watching each other with renewed intensity, and the next chapter is going to be unlike anything we have seen before. Stay locked in. This is only getting hotter, and Celeb Clope will be right here giving you every flame. Hit that subscribe button because we are just getting started.